Good morning from Harbin, the Moscow of the Orient. This city, like many others along this river, for hundreds of years was a fishing village. That is until the late 1800s when, under Tsar Nicholas II, Russian engineers came here to build the new Chinese Eastern Railway as part of the larger Trans-Siberian Railway project. By 1920, hundreds of thousands of Russians settled in this city. Some were fleeing the revolution, Jews were fleeing anti-Semitism, others were just looking to do business and start their lives here. What imprint did they leave on this city? And what happened to them? Let's find out. And look who we have with us.
We've conscripted a young local lad to be our tour guide, who's indebted to his mom and has to do this to get his PSP back. Hi, Isaiah. His name is Isaiah.
Hi.
Having a local tour guide comes with its benefits.
His mom can bake.
What is it, banana bread?
In Harbin, the Russian influence is most vividly felt along Central Street, our first stop as we delve into the city's rich European heritage.
So here we have a tower erected in Harbin to give thanks and gratitude to the workers and people of Harbin who during the 1950s a massive flood broke out in China, devastated much of the land, and the people here went down and helped rebuild. So here you have a representation of the flood waters. You have the people. You have, of course, at the top, the Patriots.
The city looks very unique compared to all the other cities in China that we visited so far. The architecture is clearly heavily influenced by the Russian population that was here and essentially built the city from scratch. I've also noticed that there's a lot of commodification and commercialization of the Russianness that this city has. Check out this McDonald's. It's got the distinct onion dome that you typically see on Orthodox churches in Russia. That's pretty cute. I like it.
Octopus, squid, and I guess beef, pork.
And that's Harbin sauce.
Harbin sauce.
Obviously not Russian food. That's a classic Chinese street food right there.
Is there a better?
So we found a Russian restaurant that's also a museum of Russian life in Harbin. Let's check it out. Vice King of Manchuria visiting Harbin. Some sort of maybe famous Russian or European lady at the time that came through here in Harbin. They had weddings. Perhaps this one was in St. Sophia Orthodox Church, celebrating the new year in Harbin. Russians take their tea very seriously. Cabbage, stuffed cabbage.
For 68, you can get like 3 bowls of noodles. Yeah. Russian red soup, you can Porsche.
It's a Porsche. I don't think we'll be eating there. It's a bit overpriced, but I have a feeling that all of them will be that way.
So this is the Harbin sausage, right? Apparently it's famous sausage from the Turin company, Turin Meter Food. Since 1900, this has been the most famous sausage in Harbin. Cheers. Oh, that's so good.
Yep. Amazing.
Okay, you want more? I haven't had this much sodium since America. Wow. This is great.
My personal interest in visiting Harbin started when a friend of ours, Tim, shared with me a book that his relatives wrote. They were Mennonite farmers in Russia, and they risked their lives, crossed the Amur River in the dead of winter, in the middle of night, escaping the communist revolution, and they ended up here in Harbin as they awaited safe passage to the US. For those who were escaping religious persecution for their faith, Harbin was just a stopping point. Many would end up traveling to the US, Canada, and even South America in search of a place to quietly live their lives and freely worship. They probably ate these sausages when they were here. This is a gallery of the Russian diaspora and culture.
Tour guide just said this is going to be epic. Epic.
Please take random photos. Yes, sir.
You're taking a photo.
Hi. She's taking a photo.
The gold brick street with our gold carriage.
Faster.
Russian chocolate. Where is
I saw there's bags of it over there, but I don't see any bars.
Yeah, this is famous brand.
Alyonka.
Get one. Is this a normal one?
Here we are at probably the most popular tourist attraction in all of Harbin, and what you can say is a symbol of the Russian history of this city. St. Sophia Orthodox Church.
World War II, this entire region was captured by the Soviets, and then the Soviets handed it over to the Chinese. So here we are eating Russian chocolate in front of a Russian church in China. Who would have thought? Maybe you gotta pull harder.
I'm definitely not gonna.
Oh, it's locked.
Pull harder.
Now Isaiah was telling us that in one of these windows, apparently the locals have a legend that there's a nun who appears in one of the windows. Although it's an Orthodox church, so they don't have nuns. So perhaps they saw some babushka.
I wonder how she got there.
Yeah.
Maybe she was lost.
Some babushka in one of those windows. Maybe we'll see her.
Is there construction in there?
Construction.
Oh, renovations.
So I was worried that the hard hats were for that.
So you can imagine how beautiful it is, how immaculate it must be inside. Unfortunately, we can't get in. So there goes that. But even from the outside, it's so amazing to think that here it was, this church built by the Russians, taken over and plundered by the Japanese, taken back over by the Soviets, and then finally handed to the Chinese government, who've been in possession of it until today. So we found this little noodle shop, and this is one of the smallest restaurants I've ever been in. Come check it out, it's pretty cool. It's like walking up a bus.
Like Cameron mentioned before, in the early 1900s, this region saw a lot of political instability, and eventually it became very difficult for the Russians, Europeans, and Jews to continue living here. A lot of them repatriated to their homelands and others scattered across the world in search of a new home. What was a vibrant and large community eventually dwindled down to just a few hundred people in the 1960s.
Well, when you're like, you know, that fried rice and burgers, like,
So now that we've seen the Russian influence on the city, we're gonna go see another culture that left its impact as well, and one that you wouldn't expect to be on this side of the world. What does it say here?
墙皮脱落, the paint is coming down.
Oh, the paint is coming off?
Yeah, the wall skin is coming down.
So it's just basically, be careful.
Be careful.
Wow.
The ghost house.
So it's locked here. No way to get up. Who knows what's up there? Most likely just the collapsed ceiling, collapsed floor of an old building here. Oh, look at that. Trip on that. Looks like this place got like bombed or something.
Call of Duty kind of place.
You heard it there, Call of Duty kind of place. So here we have the Kung Fu Academy.
Yeah, it teaches 螳螂拳.
Cricket punch.
螳螂. What is 螳螂? And 螳螂is not cricket.
Dude, we better get out of here. If those Kung Fu masters catch us snooping around,
We'll be goners.
we'll be goners.
We'll be done for.
They're gonna hit us with that, what is it, the 1-inch punch?
No.
You know, this? Like that?
Oh, careful, you're gonna
Well,
take his life. don't know that.
Here we have a Jewish historical and cultural memorial hall. This is actually a converted synagogue. Within the city of Harbin, there are two synagogues. There's the old synagogue and the new one. And this new one has been converted into a museum. Unfortunately, it's closed. Just like the other museums we went to. We're batting 0 for 2 today. What can you do? Oh, there's the Star of David, by the way. Now you may be asking yourself, what on earth were Jews doing in this far north remote part of China? Well, you see, during the 19th century, Jews underwent extreme persecution within Europe. And so they had to flee to some of the most remote places in the world. And here in China, really, the Chinese saw the Jews as Europeans more or less. So, facing Russian pogroms, many Jews came and moved down here to Harbin and set up synagogues just like this one. We're running now. So we're going to the old synagogue to see if it's open and possibly if we can go in. Most of the museums here, like the Russian one and the synagogue that we saw for the Jews, are closed because there simply aren't Jews and Russians really left to maintain them. So that's just a picture into the state of what Harbin is like now. Oh, I do notice, like, they don't follow road rules here. Sometimes almost not at all. But they're very attentive. So they'll run that red light, but they'll actually be looking, maybe.
I did not hear it.
Isaiah here just got ran over.
Harbin people never look at lights.
Концертный зал старинной синагоги.
What does that say?
The concert hall of the old synagogue. Oh, it's right here.
And it's open.
So if it isn't already obvious to you, this is not a synagogue that's in use for its traditional purposes. It's been converted into a concert hall, and right now they're having an opera performance. I can't help but wonder how a Jewish person would feel seeing this.
请问这里有犹太人吗？有犹。
我们这边就是音乐厅，没有教堂功能性。
啊，其实it's not used for any church activities, like religious activities, but she doesn't know if there's any Jews coming here.
Okay.
Do you hear Harry Potter? Is that Harry Potter?
There's the synagogue, probably right around the time it was first constructed in 1907. And this looks to be perhaps a group of rabbis, or maybe members of the synagogue congregation. And then another photo of the synagogue from 1931. Probably right around the time that the last few Jews still lived in this area. As beautiful as the music was, it's still a bit sad to see a place of worship that was once flourishing having been turned into a cafe and a music hall.
So we got one more stop. It's a very special place, but a little bit of a sober place. And it's further outside of town, so it's gonna be a little bit of a journey to get there, but it's worth it. You'll see.
So we got here, and it turns out that it closed at 11 this morning.
It was open from 7 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. What? All right, back to the taxi. Well, friends, we failed, unfortunately. But hey, it's not about always succeeding. It's about the journey along the way, right? We wanted to show you a nice, calm, sober cemetery to reflect upon the generations in the city that have come and gone. We're not gonna let it get us down. We're gonna find something exciting. We're gonna find some content for you, okay? Now, to give us our spirits back, Isaiah purchased 3 lollipops. With these lollipops, we're gonna find something to do. We're gonna have some spirit in us. Ain't that right, guys?
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers. If it didn't work, it wasn't meant to happen.
Think of it as like a symbol, an analogy. The foreigners, the Russians that came here, they didn't know the Japanese invasion was gonna happen. Soviets, they didn't know the government here would change. And they had to have a change of plan and get out of here. So, much like that story.
We're just coming up with things at this point. We don't know what we're doing. But we're gonna find something. That fish looks a little dead.
那这个鱼是死的吗？刚死。The fish just died.
The fish just died, okay.
Rest in peace.
Unfortunate. California.
Looks pretty.
The door that was多少钱?
To it.
It's like 45 for not even like a fake hat.
Ah, somebody stabbed me. I don't like that. Can I switch hats so she's just gonna give me the same hat? So right now we're walking on the actual old classic railroad that the China East Railway built here in Harbin. And at the end of this bridge, supposedly there's a very, very special shipyard. Why is it special?
You'll soon find out.
We're on a little island in between the two rivers. We just got off the bridge, and there is a couple of cool relics here. It looks like this one right here is like a World War II era fort or something. If you look in the windows that are constructed like this typically are made for being able to fire outside, but if you see, it's very difficult for the bullets to actually land on the people inside. Built in 1916 by, what was his name?
Captain Rachmaninoff.
Captain Rachmaninoff. Let's see what's inside. Wow. You see, Russian men must be short, huh? Maybe it was something built for Chinese people?
This is people smoke and drink here.
People smoke and drink?
And ate something. Oh,
Hopefully that's all they did in here. Okay, but like I was saying outside, if you look at it right here, these little window fortifications are built in a certain way where it's easy for you to be able to fire outside, but then bullets can't come in easily. So imagine a machine gunner here was ready to fight.
Where does that go? I
don't know if I want to climb over that part.
No, we're not climbing over there. Are you kidding me? We're gonna get tetanus and
See someone's bed and their jacket.
some guy sleeps here. And there's a basement.
Do you want to go down?
I don't want to go down there. Are you kidding me?
I'm not scared to go down there.
Yeah, but like,
You can't even see the steps.
you can't see this,
anymore.
dude. I wouldn't do that, man.
You don't know when you
That's
might
sketchy. It might
through.
fall. You're definitely not gonna play
You
your
wanna make it
PSP if
to-
you break your legs.
Not when we're on.
Watch out for the glass.
This is cooler than the very old.
Looks like we have light up here.
Is that bullet?
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Does that look bullet holes?
Yeah, that looks like holes to me. I mean,
Like bullet holes.
I'm not sure. You tell me, YouTube. Those bullet holes.
There's a little kid's footprint over here.
So,
Little baby. Little bunker baby. Look at this bunker door. It's thick.
could be a war
Got holes in it. Someone's sleeping in there. Look at this. We found a really cool World War I relic. Who knows how long that could have been there for? We have some old 20th century newspapers on the wall, perhaps even older. I don't know what language. Is that Chinese?
That is definitely Chinese.
What does it say?
So, someone was trapped inside a boxcar, and they're trying to save these people who are trapped without water and food inside a boxcar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine this. Being a soldier in here, having to sit in one of these rooms for how many days on end, fighting going on outside, putting up newspaper on the wall to remind you of what outside life is like.
Looks like the wooden beams next to us were used for the railroads, maybe left over from decades ago. Or maybe for the ships. I don't know. There are also a lot of houseboats here. People living along the river. We're here in the Shipyard district. You're probably wondering, what's so interesting about the Shipyard district? Within this district, there is a Christian shipyard where missionaries from around the world came to Harbin with the goal of spreading the gospel and creating churches and they worked in this shipyard, lived here, and sustained themselves. Take a look.
We got a cross.
This is the old church, the old shipyard church with a cross on top.
2008.
Let's see what we can see. We'll leave it up to the imagination. Imagine the missionaries running around making gospel tracts by hand.
We can't figure
out get in.
就走这个路，直走四走拐拐弯，就那边都是。
Now, according to the lady, the area we saw back there is actually the church. So that wasn't where they built the ships. That's where the Christians just would come together and congregate on Sundays and Wednesdays. And actually, it's still open. They have services a couple times every week. Now, most likely the Christians lived in the shipping yard district. I'm sure their homes were accommodations like these. And then they would go down to the docks to actually build the boats. And the lady told us the docks are down this way, so we're gonna go see what we can find. Seems like this is where they used to manufacture all the boat parts. You can see a cat. You can also see some parts of engines and valves, stone, some wood and pipes. Oh, where's he off to?
Probably frightened the local.
Oh, shipyard's over here. Ladies and gentlemen, the shipping yard. What's he doing down there? Is he playing with an anchor? By an old anchor. The first large anchor that I've ever touched. Are we gonna do it together, everyone? 1, 2, 3.
Think of all the seas that this anchor went into.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Think about it. And once again, unfortunately, we find another gate which we cannot pass. And so, we're gonna leave it there. We've had a fun time in the Moscow of the Orient. We've had a lovely time with our local guide, Isaiah.
By this time.
By this time. And what better place to leave you off? The beautiful Harbin shipping yard. And there's the city. Our tour guide's a little devious.
That's what you get when you're a 15-year-old.